In tonight's headlines, eagerly revelers are waiting for the New Year's countdown across both sides of Victoria Habour. Hong Kong appoints Chan Tsz-tat as Commissioner of Customs and Excise, replacing former Chief Louise Ho, who is retiring. And a Seoul court approves detention warrant for impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, marking the first time a South Korean sitting president issued such warrant. Hong Kong will ring in 2025 with a New Year's Eve countdown lineup of activities. The celebration, themed the Symphony of Happiness, will kick off at 11 p.m. with a 4-segment series of shooting stars launching every 15 minutes from 3 buildings on Hong Kong Island. When the clock strikes 12 times tonight, the night sky over Victoria Habour will transform into a breathtaking canvas for spectacular fireworks display, featuring new elements previously unseen in the city. The display will be visible from Central to North Point. Eagerly revelers started gathering at Tsim Sha Tsui in the afternoon to secure the best spots to view the 12 minutes extravaganza. The weather is expected to be cool and dry with some cloud cover, but this will not detract from the viewing experience, according to the observatory. Police have announced phased traffic closures around the areas, starting with Salisbury Road at 6 p.m., followed by closures from Wan Chai North to Central at 7 p.m. Meanwhile, hot countdown destination Lan Kwai Fong saw traffic restrictions as early as 2 p.m. to prevent congestion and ensure safety. The Transportation Department encourages visitors to use public transport for their celebrations. Revelers need not worry about returning home after the festivities, as most MTR trains will operate overnight on New Year's Eve. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
In preparation for New Year's Eve celebrations and to facilitate the smooth flow of tourists, the Lo Wu Control Point will extend its opening hours until 2 a.m., while the Shenzhen Bay Port will remain open round the clock. Travelers eager to join in the countdown festivities in Hong Kong began arriving early in the day. This man said he plans to take advantage of the Shenzhen Bay Port's 24-hour opening to stay overnight in Shenzhen due to the high accommodation costs in Hong Kong. Meanwhile, a cross-border bus company said they have extended its service hours to cater to late-night revelers, anticipating that most tickets will be purchased on-site, with peak hours expected to begin at 12:30 a.m. Freeman Cheung, vice chairman of the Hong Kong-Guangdong Boundary Crossing Bus Association, predicted that while some travelers may choose the MTR services via the Lo Wu border, a considerable number will opt for the Shenzhen Bay Port, which is their primary service target. He added that they are fully prepared to handle any situation and the surge of travelers. Newly appointed Customs Chief Chan Tsz-tat expressed confidence in this year's measures for smooth border crossings after the New Year's countdown. He added that additional manpower has been deployed to beef up services during peak hours. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
The State Council today appointed Chan Tsz-tat as Commissioner of Customs and Excise, replacing former Chief Louise Ho, who is retiring. Chen said safeguarding national security is among the key areas of work for his team. Chen pointed out that officers are well trained to be able to detect materials at the border that are suspected of violating security laws. He also promised to intensify efforts against drug trafficking and the smuggling of the newly popular drug known as space oil. Chen, 54, joined the department as an inspector in 1994 and has served as Deputy Commissioner of Customs for the past 2 years, responsible for the force's management and strategic development. Chief Executive John Lee expressed his confidence in Chen's leadership capabilities, highlighting his extensive management experience. The city leader also acknowledged Ho's significant contributions to Hong Kong over her more than 30 years of service. 57-year-old Ho made history in 2021 as Hong Kong's first female customs chief. Under Ho's watch, the department stepped up measures to prevent items that may endanger national security from entering the city. She was also commended for her efforts in combating smuggling, protecting government revenue, and enhancing narcotics detection. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
In a bid to transform Hong Kong into Asia's hub for international cruises, the government plans to launch a new tender process for the operation of Kai Tak Cruise Terminal next year. Taking to the airwaves, Tourism Chief Rosanna Law stressed that any interested operator is encouraged to participate, adding that the incumbent company would need to introduce new ideas if it wanted to keep the job.
究竟係邊一個最終會投到呢個新碼頭呢？我哋就持一個開放態度啦。
As for who will end up winning the bid, we will keep an open mind, she added. This comes as the government unveiled the latest tourism development blueprint yesterday, which places an emphasis on expanding the cruise sector. Officials plan to open tender 3 years before the current contract ends, as well as to revise the terms and conditions of the tenancy agreement to make the cruise terminal more appealing.
並唔係話我今日接手，聽日呢我就安排啲郵輪嚟香港。
Law stressed the importance of early action for results to show before the May 2028 deadline. She added that the existing operator can join the tender but will be evaluated based on past performances. Speaking to the radio, Jeff Bent, the managing director of the current operator, expressed support for the initiative, but stressed that the company has done a fair job over the past decade.
所以可以話係過往係理想，不過疫情後就回復慢。
While acknowledging that the company had reached a return on government investment in 2021, Bent noted that the industry's recovery post-pandemic has been sluggish. He explained that cruise schedules are planned several years in advance, indicating that tangible outcomes may not kick in until 2026 or later, emphasizing that the industry demands a long-term commitment. Cheryl Yoon, Cable News.
Hundreds of supporters of impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol held a rally outside presidential residence of the so-called approved detention warrant for Yoon. Protesters were chanting slogans against opposition party lawmakers at the National Assembly's impeachment of Yoon. Seoul Western District Court issued the warrant this morning, as requested from the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials. This marked the first warrant issued to detain a sitting president in the nation's history. The court also approved a warrant to search Yoon's presidential residence in connection with the investigation. The anti-corruption agency said it will execute the warrant by next Monday, adding that the methods for implementation will be discussed with the police. Yoon could be detained at the Seoul Detention Center after questioning. With that warrant, investigators can detain Yoon for questioning over his failed martial law bid for up to 48 hours. If they want to arrest him, they have to ask the court to issue an arrest warrant. Yoon's legal defense team plans to seek an injunction to suspend a detention warrant, while criticizing the warrant as illegal and invalid because the agency has no investigative rights on charges of insurrection. Yoon's lawyer said the president will make his stance over his declaration of martial law at an appropriate time and will likely appear at his impeachment trial at the Constitutional Court at least once. Anna Chen, Cable News. Investigators continued to search the wreckage of the Jeju airplane that crashed in southern South Korea, killing 179 people. Parts of the crash site were still cordoned off. Operations of Muan International Airport will be suspended until next Tuesday. Its reopening will be decided at a later date. Meanwhile, a team of investigators from the U.S. aviation and transport agencies and aircraft manufacturer Boeing have arrived at Muan to participate in the probe. Following the on-site probe, the investigation will proceed to the analysis phase, which will involve examining the data extracted from the aircraft's 2 black boxes. One of them suffered exterior damage, while the other was in a relatively bad condition. As a suspected bird strike may have caused a tragedy last Sunday, it is understood that at the time of the incident, only one bird alert team, commonly referred to as Batman, was on duty, prompting questions about whether staffing levels and operational protocols were sufficient. Chinese state-sponsored hackers breached the U.S. Treasury Department earlier this month, accessing several employee workstations and unclassified documents. The breach, characterized as a major incident, was made public in a letter penned by the Treasury to lawmakers yesterday. The China-based actor was able to override security via a key used by third-party cybersecurity service provider Beyond Trust that offers remote technical support to its employees and accessed unclassified documents. The authorities did not specify the nature of these files or when and for how long the hack took place. The suspicious activity was first spotted on December 2nd, but it took 3 days for the company to determine that it had been hacked before notifying the Treasury Department on December 8th. The compromised third-party service has since been taken offline. The U.S. agency said it had been working with the FBI and other agencies to investigate the impact. This is the latest high-profile and embarrassing U.S. breach blamed on Chinese espionage hackers. Chinese embassy spokesmen rejected any responsibility for the hack, saying it can be difficult to trace the origin of hackers, and Beijing firmly opposes the U.S. mere attacks against China without any factual basis. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Hong Kong stocks concluded the year on a high note after 4 consecutive years of losses, with the benchmark Hang Seng Index surging by over 3,000 points in 2024. The stock market wrapped up the year with a half-day session on the final trading day, showing mixed yet stable performance. Closing above the 20,000-point mark, the Hang Seng Index started off low but later rebounded, finishing at 20,059 points, up 18 points, alongside a trading volume of $74.5 billion. Summing up the year, the Hang Seng Index saw a 17% climb. The index hit its annual low in January at 14,797 points. Supportive measures from the mainland in September triggered a rapid market upsurge, propelling the index to a peak of 23,241 points in October. The tech index saw a growth of over 18%, putting an end to a 3-year decline. Xiaomi, with the assistance of its electric vehicle business segment, stood out as the top-performing blue-chip stock of the year with 121% increase. Trip.com and Meituan closely followed suit with over 94% and 85% increase respectively. Budweiser APAC became the worst-performing blue-chip stock, dropping by 49%. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.